Hey there, welcome to the journey. Shobham this side, and let's talk about resources. Yup, before diving deep with any concept, any topic, any type of installation, let's talk about the resource where you will get access to all the lecture code, all the project demo, or any type of other extension that I mentioned during the course. So everything at one place. And how to access this? Well, you just need to visit unwirelearning.com/resource/javascript and you will get onto this particular sheet. Now let's talk about what this sheet contains. So the first thing we need to focus on is our lecture files. So with each lecture, I will be writing some code or I will be doing some stuff. If you want to access that particular lecture file, we have that. You can just access lecture code files and you will have access to this link. Don't worry, I'm going to explain how. The next thing, all the project file. Well, I have all the files at one place. The next thing, all the project demo. So maybe we are building a quiz application or maybe a budget tracker. You want to access that? Well, I have the demo link here. I can open the demo for my budget tracker. If I click here, you can see this is my budget tracker. Also, if I want specific code for my budget tracker or the final files, I can just access it here. If I open this one, now these are the final files. Awesome. So that's how we are going to access the demo. Now during the introduction lecture, I talk about reference link, I talk about cheat sheet, or maybe I talk about some extension. I have kept all of these resources here so it will be easy for you to access. For example, in upcoming lectures, we will be using a code editor and I will be talking about some extension. So if you are unable to remember them, you can get here and you can get access to all the information. For example, I talk about this particular theme. So you can get here and just get the name of the theme or maybe about the icons or maybe about our live server or anything else. So whatever I mention in the lecture, I try to add them here. Maybe few common websites that I talked during the course, maybe about the documentation. So I have included the link. You don't need to visit here and there. You can just get it here. The other thing is maybe I'm talking about deployment. So what I did is I created another sheet and wrote everything step by step. So you can get here and things will be simplified. Don't worry, you don't need to understand anything right now. As we move forward, you will understand the use case of this entire resource. That's all about the resource part. But now let's talk about how to access lecture code. That means suppose I am watching some lecture and I want code file for that particular lecture. Well, it's easy. On your lecture code file, you have access to all the files. Now these are not lecture number. These are specific code that are mentioned with lecture name. So if you visit any lecture in which we write some code, you will find a code in the title itself, in the lecture name itself. So if the lecture name is maybe for loop 008, this is the file where I have stored all the code. Or maybe I am working with some project and the lecture name says that we are going to write a loop. Or maybe we are working on some function and the lecture name includes the code 065. So you can get here and access 065. If you open this one, you will have all the files that we utilize in that particular lecture. That's great. Similarly, things are followed with my project source code. So if you get here, I have access to all of them. Now if you want to download the entire code, all you have to do is just get here onto the code part and download the zip. Simplest way, you will have the entire source code lecture by lecture with the code number in your desktop or in your local system. Now, one other thing that I want to talk about is GitHub 1s. Well, it's an open source project that helps us to convert this entire thing into proper code files online itself. So it will open a editor online. Just jump onto this particular link and just after GitHub, you can say GitHub 1s. And if I open the project, this is going to give you access to all the files here on the side. And if I click on any file, maybe I'm working on a lecture and the lecture code is 205. Not the lecture number, but the lecture code. You will see on the title of the lecture itself. And the lecture code is 205. So suppose I get here into 205. If I click, all these are the file for 205. And if I want to copy, I can click on index.html, I can copy this. I can click on index.js, I can copy this. Similarly, if the lecture code is maybe 65, let's say, or something else, so you can just get here, open the 65 here and see index.js maybe, this is the lecture code, or script.js, this is the lecture code. So you will have access to all the files. Now maybe you want to work with this image, you can get here. If you want to download, just right click and have the download option. So things get easier if you are working with GitHub 1S. If you want to download the specific folder, just click on that folder, right click, click on download, and this particular folder will be downloaded. So this GitHub 1S helps a lot. You don't need to download everything. Just get here. Maybe you want this particular lecture files, you can get it pretty quickly. Now that's all about the code files, but there are few recommendations that I have for you. You can consider this as advice. My initial recommendation will be to watch all lectures on full screen at highest possible quality. That means you are watching all lectures on full screen at 180p. This will help you to get better experience of everything that we do. Since we do lot of writing, so highest quality is recommended. The other thing is doubts. Make sure you search on Google. Yep, I am saying this again, as a developer, this is going to be an important skill. And the problem is, we cannot teach you this skill in one lecture. It's a proper journey that you have to understand. So if you get any doubt, try to search on Google. This is the most important thing. And the reason is, once you get into a company, once you start working as a freelancer, once you get an internship, no one is going to help you or solve your doubt. You actually need to acquire the skill to solve your doubt. Yup. No one is going to help you once you get into a company. No one is going to help you once you start taking freelancing projects. So how to solve that? Well, you acquire the skill to find solution. You acquire the skill to read about solutions. And that's where Google come into picture. If you get any doubt, if you get any error, try to just copy paste the error, search on Google. If you get any doubt, just try to search that doubt on Google. If you want to read something, try to search on Google. I know this sounds pretty odd, but that's how you will acquire the skill to find answers. Maybe you are learning about for loop and you want more example, just search about for loop, JavaScript, or whatever the topic you are learning, and you will get multiple blogs. So you understood about for loop through the lecture, you understood about few examples, but you want more, and that's how you will get it. Maybe your browser gets some error, maybe some undefined value, or maybe your browser is causing issue because of some previous version. What you need to do? Well, search on Google. You will understand, okay, this is the possibility with your system, maybe with your browser setting or anything else. This will help you to acquire a skill that is priceless. And I can assure you, once you learn this skill, you are unstoppable. Because now you have power to learn things online, but you also have the power to implement things, and if you get stuck, you can clear them pretty quickly. It's a skill. I have added this point specifically to mention things. No one is going to tell you this. Maybe some people do, some don't. But I've added specific 3 to 4 minutes just to make sure at the starting of the course that learn to Google stuff. Once you search your problem on Google, you will realize that there are 1,000 other developers that are facing the same problem. And now they are recommending, okay, this is the solution that worked for me. This is the solution that worked for me. And that's how you are going to learn. You will also understand how one problem can have multiple solutions. So there are few common websites that you will learn about, like Stack Overflow. So once you search your problem, you will see why this Stack Overflow is coming at the top every time. Because it's a question answer website, you will learn about it. Or you will learn about some common blogs that appear on search. Blogs from senior developer, blogs from other instructor, as well as blogs that are directly linked to some companies. And I'm pretty open about this, that if you want to learn, just try to explore things. This is going to help you a lot in long run. The next point, practice. Practice all the concept, take examples, but don't try to memorize stuff. Don't try to memorize any type of code. Don't try to memorize any type of definition. Once you start practicing, once you start understanding things, programming is pretty easy. You don't need to write anything, you just need to implement things. Remember, just practice, understand things, and then you can explain things in your own word. You don't need to write anything. Once you start implementing things from the lecture, things will be easy. Remember, don't sit and memorize the code. The next point, consistency. Now this is pretty long course and there are chances that you might fall off in between. And I know you might not like this, but this is harsh truth. So how to stay consistent with our learning? Well, one thing I cracked is social media. Get onto the Twitter, and here I might sound odd, but that's how things work. Get onto Twitter and try to follow some trend, maybe 100 days of code, 30 days of code. This will help you to maintain your consistency for 30 days. Maybe you are learning from Monday to Friday. Just do day 1 of 100 days of code, day 2 100 days of code. Until Friday you will have 5 days. And then again on Monday you can start day 6 100 days of code. So you don't need to be consistent on each day, but you just need to be consistent on your learning. You can follow 30 days of code, 100 days of code, just follow anything, but make sure you stay consistent. Twitter is pretty popular with 100 days of code or 30 days of code. Just post one screenshot, define what you did today, and that's it. Make sure you show up regularly. If you want, you can also tag me. The other thing I also recommend is once you complete any type of project, make sure you mention on LinkedIn so that you have completed this XYZ project, add a screenshot, maybe a code file, and mention your experience and tag me so I can just review that project. That's all. Hope you are ready. Now we are going to move forward with understanding about basics of JavaScript, initial setup, and lot more stuff. I hope this was helpful. Now you have access to all the lecture files, project files, as well as demo, and any other resource that I used during the course. Thank you for following. Super excited to have you here. Let's start our journey with JavaScript now.